I was never really a runner. The way I see running is a gift, especially when you have stage 4 cancer. I'm Anne. I'm running the Boston Marathon, presented by Bank of America. I run for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute to give people like me a chance to thrive in life, even with cancer.
Join Bank of America in helping Anne's cause. Give if you can at BofA.com/supportAnne. What would you like the power to do? References to charitable organizations is not an endorsement by Bank of America Corporation. Copyright 2025.
It's time for basketball, and Uber Eats is dropping deals on game day favorites to keep you locked in on the action. Like when you're craving a buzzer beater, but also buffalo wings. Or when an upset makes you want to ugly cry into a pizza. And right now, Uber Eats has game day deals from Burger King, Buffalo Wild Wings, KFC, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a burger. Order now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Lowe's knows how to freshen up your yard, and it all starts with mulch. That's why we're introducing Mulch Week during SpringFest with can't-miss savings. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. Plus, members earn 5 times the points on select mulch purchases all week long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/9. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is the evening of April the 3rd. We have a recap to get to tonight. The Penguins are in St. Louis to play the white-hot St. Louis Blues. But before we get into the recap, I'm joined by Snail once again. As always, no change there. So we'll toss it over to him real quick. He's out in Seattle. Snail, how's everything going out there?
Long day of work, Robbie.
Long day, yeah.
Cooked. It's nice out, so working outside is just got to get my legs under me again for the season. So it's really, just up and down on the ladder, doing a deck in the direct sunlight. Not the end of the world, but I'm beat today. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit pumped up for this game when I got off work. It's the Penguins. Was it like 4 days since their last game?
Yeah, they had 3 days off. Yep, Monday was their last game. No, Sunday. Sorry.
I hate that. I'm so used to every other day, and then when the Penguins, it's like when a reality TV show has a finale and they make you wait 2 weeks for it or something.
Yeah,
it's like that. It's just lame. So I was a little bit pumped up. I was like, yeah, maybe they'll snap the Blues winning streak and prove that this team is a bunch of frauds and they're not going to go on a 2019 Cinderella run. That's where I stand on how white hot they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I went into this game with little expectations and not going to lie, pretty hyped. I was excited for this one, but I guess enough about me and what I was thinking. How are things out there in good old you're in Jonestown, right? Johnstown.
Yeah, you're close. The temperature is actually very nice. It's raining a lot. It's been raining the past few days. We actually had hail. It hailed yesterday, bigger than a pea.
That's crazy. I saw that on your story.
That was outside my office window. That wasn't even at home. That is, for this area, that's pretty big hail. We don't get you see in the Midwest where they get that hail that's the size of a baseball and stuff like that.
Yeah, really can damage a bunch
that
of
terrifies
stuff.
me to get if I'd ever see that kind of hail coming down. But no, it was very big for our area, but today it rained. Tomorrow it's supposed to rain. Saturday it's supposed to rain. Sunday it's supposed to rain. I think I'm in Seattle.
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds familiar.
Yeah, it should. Yeah, it should. But the temperature is actually shorts and t-shirt type weather. It's just wet all the time. But there is, unfortunately, Monday and Tuesday a small chance of snow. Back in the forecast. So that
sucks.
Yeah, the weather is all over the place in the extended forecast. Good temperatures, high temperatures, low temperatures, in the like average temperatures. It just fluctuates, and it's gonna. I'm just wait. I'm gonna get hammered with a cold or something here in the next.
That would really
month.
just top it
Yeah.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
make you feel like you're back in winter for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But
Ugh,
no.
sucks.
So the Penguins were in St. Louis tonight, and before we get to the actual game, I didn't realize this until I was doing some other stuff before the St. Louis entered this game on a 10-game win streak. Snail, can you tell me who the last team to beat the St. Louis Blues were?
Was it the Penguins?
It was the Penguins back in March when they were in Pittsburgh, a 5-3 win. That I think it might have been Connor Dewar and Connor Timmins' like first or second game.
Oh yeah, okay. Right after the trade deadline.
Yes, right after the trade deadline. I did not think that was the last team to beat them, but that was the case tonight. And yeah, they're in St. Louis tonight. The St. Louis Blues have won 10 in a row. They're in a playoff spot. And my biggest takeaway from this game before we get into the scoring is the future is now, old man.
The future is now.
But no, the scoring, the Penguins get off the front foot here. 3:32 into the game. Brian Russ, number 27, inching ever closer to the big 3-0. And more importantly on this first career point on the assist for Rucker McGroarty. It's 1-0 Penguins after a period of play. But the second period, things not great for the Penguins here. Jake Neighbors ties the game 39 seconds into the second period. Robert Thomas has 51 assists this year, and Philip Broberg on the assist there. But the Penguins do regain the lead again to make it 2-1. Connor Dewar, the aforementioned Connor Dewar, his fourth goal of the season. Raquel and Rust on the assist. So Brian Rust does hit 30 assists with that point, but that is when it kind of falls apart for the Penguins a little bit. Pavel Buchnevich gets his 16th of the year to tie it at 2, and then Jordan Kyrou gets his 33rd of the year about a minute and a half later to make it 3-2, and that's what the score was after 2 periods of play. On to the third period, Jake Neighbors gets his second of the game. On this one, Jimmy Snuggard just signed as a out of college from the University of Minnesota. His first career point makes it 4-2, or helped make it 4-2. At this point, I was not feeling good about this game.
No.
I really thought that was about it. But the Penguins keep fighting. Ricard Raquel gets a power play marker, his 33rd of the year, 4-3 with about 9 minutes left. It's looking bleak as the clock ticks down there, but the kids are given a shot in a high leverage situation here, Snail.
Love it. I love that. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, why not? You have nothing to lose at this point.
No.
Nothing to lose. But the kids are out there. Billy Koivunen and Rucker McGroarty are on the ice. Billy Koivunen finds Rucker McGroarty at the goal line. McGroarty, a power move to the front of the net, wraps it around goaltender Joel, I believe it's Hofer. Hofer was not Jordan Bennington tonight, but he scoots it around Joel Hofer for his first career NHL goal. As I said, Billy Koivunen, his first point with the primary assist. And they force overtime. And I'm at the point in the season now, the Penguins are well out of it, that I shouldn't get mad about blown calls and bad calls in any situation, really.
Yeah, describe what happened with Letang to the listeners.
To me, it was purely stick on stick. It was not at all a slash that was called. It's something that happens probably 20, 30 times a game, and it's never called.
Maybe 20, 30 times a period sometimes.
Yeah. Here in 2 to 3 weeks, it won't even be thought of as being a penalty.
No.
Again, I shouldn't be worked up about bad calls at this point, but I was pretty fired up after the McGroarty goal.
Me too.
Because they even put the kids out there in overtime, like right away, off the bat. And this kind of threw everything out of sync. And then Robert Thomas scores his 20th of the year on the ensuing power play to win it 5-4 for the St. Louis Blues and to extend their win streak to 11 games. But for me, the big takeaway, obviously, I think it's the obvious thing. This is now 2 games in a row going back to Sunday. Man, the kids look good.
They do. They're I think Rupper said it best on air. and he was referring to Rutger McGroarty when he scored his goal, but he said essentially, you're playing with Sid, you're playing with these guys, they're playing with you. Don't defer to anybody. Just do what you naturally do, because that's what's gotten them to this point. And that's what Rutger does. I think in the future, that's going to be, and if you've seen highlights of him in Wilkes, or if you look at him when he was with the U.S. national team, the World Junior team, he's going to be around the net a lot. He's going to be, he has. I hate when people do this, and I'm about to, but there's a lot of players that make a living in front of the net. You could say, I was going to say, this guy could be a Matthew Tkachuk type player in the future, but you always pick like your favorite player that plays that style when you're comparing. Let's say Jake Van Riemsdyk, or James Van Riemsdyk. Sorry, not the sexiest name, but been around a long time and makes a living in front of the net. I mean, Rutger McGroarty, he's going to be making a living down and around the crease like that. That's just where he goes instinctually. That's where that's just where he's found success, and I love that. Ville Koivunen, dude, we might have a pretty sick player in Ville Koivunen. He seems to have great vision. He scores a lot in Wilkes, but this guy might be racking up assists and points like crazy. The way that when that guy gets open ice, you can see him you can see him just like radar mode. He's just like, who's open. So, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Like you said, Robbie, I'm fired up over Rutgers' first NHL goal and Ville Koivunen getting on the board as well. But I think that these kids, I mean, they earned their way up to even though the Penguins are out of the playoffs, they've earned their way up to this point.
Yeah.
No more Emil Benstroms, just hanging a hope and a prayer on an Emil Benstrom, lighting it up. We never got to see our Lord and Savior Boris Kachuk this year. That ship might have sailed. But Ville Koivunen and Rutger McGroarty are going to probably be Penguins for a very long time. And there's a lot of hope hanging on them as well, but I'm pretty fired up on what these guys were displaying. And it's a nothing game for the Penguins. The Blues had they're in a playoff spot, but it's by no means secured. It's kind of an interesting race out west. But with all that said, they went out there and they were like, they were out there and full skill on display, and they were getting opportunity from Mike Sullivan, and I love it.
Yeah, and again, I know that we criticize Sullivan a lot, and I'd say that most of it is definitely deserved, especially after the last few seasons. But when the kids come up, he's not afraid to play the kids when it matters. I mean, remember Brian Rust when he came into the league, that first full season, just a big-time player in big-time moments in those, especially in like playoff games and stuff like that. Connor Sherry scored, incredibly big goals for the Penguins during his time in Pittsburgh. Sullivan is not afraid of calling these kids, or at least playing these kids when they get called up. And McGroarty and Koivunen are going to be here for the next, I believe it's 6 games left of the season. It's just going to be fun to watch them. That's going to be really the highlight of these last 6 games. It's just that. It's just going to be going out there, seeing what these kids can do, because it's just fun that this chapter is finally starting. The last few years have definitely felt, obviously, I mean, we're not used to it, what we've experienced these last 3 years, but Kyle Dubas kind of said it at the trade deadline. We've executed part 1 of this plan. It's time to execute part 2. McGroarty was a big trade in the offseason. Koivunen, obviously, a part of the Gensel trade. And all these moves have kind of led us to where we are now, a little over a year later now. And these guys are NHL ready. It's going to be fun to watch them this summer. I'm hoping they'll be at the prospect showcase whenever that is, to get them some more eyes on them. And then training camp in September is when they're going to really be able to push for a full-time roster gig. We had the hype of McGroarty making the team out of camp. Probably wasn't ready quite yet, but that's fine. He goes down to the A and dominates down there. And that's not even it's not even just McGroarty and Koivunen. We talked about Tristan Brose. We've talked about Panamera. We've talked about Harrison Brunnicke, who's now playing in Wilkes-Barre. We've talked a name that we haven't really talked about much, but it could very well be pushing for the league for the big club next year is Avery Hayes down in Wilkes-Barre.
He's making some noise.
Making huge noise. He's had an AHL only deal this year, but he is now he signed an entry-level contract that will start next season with the Penguins, so he can be moved up and down through the system. But yeah, the future's now. What we've seen out of McGroarty and Koivunen through 2 games together, they're in high leverage situations. It gives me hope that Crosby's going to get another shot at some point. And that's really all we can ask for right now.
Well, yeah, you see what, like, you know, we talk about it, but we don't really talk about the risk involved that, like, Dubas is making big swings, trading that Braden Yeager kid who's looking like he didn't trade Braden Yeager because he thinks that he might be a bust. That Braden Yeager is going to be an NHL player someday, and he's good. He's lights up the juniors. He's got an NHL shot already. That release is nasty, but Braden Yeager is still in wherever he is, Regina or whatever. Like, he's in where is he? I forget where he is in juniors. It doesn't matter. He's not in the system anymore, but he took a swing and he traded kind of one of the first cupboard stocking pieces that the Penguins have had in a while for a guy, Rutger McGroarty, who was unhappy with his situation and was still with the Winnipeg Jets. And, you know, you don't really know what these are, still lottery tickets for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He goes out and he gets Rutger and he gives him a couple games in the NHL, sends him down. And, you know, we talked about it on here. Rutger didn't just light it up immediately in the AHL. It took him a while to get his bearings down there, but with patience and trusting in this player, the way he's projected and developed over his time in the junior and college ranks and whatever, he earned his way to a roster spot at the end of the season. The other one that I was going to bring up was the Gensel trade. I mean, you traded a bona fide 40 goal scorer who is not by any means old on a team. You're taking a huge risk in that transaction. And you remember what he said? He said something like, we want quality, not quantity, as far as prospects in return. And when that happened, we were kind of scratching our heads like, these aren't even Carolina's best prospects. It wasn't that Jackson Blake or whatever his name is or something. And it wasn't that other fella that they sent over to Colorado. And anyways, it wasn't him either. So you're just kind of like, what is going on here? Panamera and Koivunen have been lighting up the AHL. So they've both seen NHL minutes at this point. So yeah, the future is now. So Dubas's plan is playing out right in front of us, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be one of the bright spots of this season that's been squandered. You know, we accepted that quite a while ago. I think we weren't so super convinced even before the season started. You know, I always refer back to that episode we had Hunter Hodes on, and we talked about our preseason kind of predictions. I don't think any of us had Penguins making playoffs. I think it was like, you know, we were like, if we were making predictions for players and we were like, if these guys have these kind of year, they'll probably be a playoff team, but none of us were brave enough to really believe in that.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's just cool to see. So, you're just hoping that maybe this Dubas plan, can they be like the team they played tonight with the St. Louis Blues, the Washington Capitals? You know, you gotta hit on those big swings. And, you know, you can look at teams like Detroit and Ottawa and Buffalo. I almost don't even say their name for, like, you know, juju reasons, but you just don't want to end up like them, because you can take swings and it doesn't always mean it's going to hit. But when you've got a guy like, you know, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Dubas, you got a guy like Dubas and he's hit on a couple of things already. It's exciting, Robbie, is basically what I'm trying to say. It's exciting, and we're going to, you know, we have our faith in Dubas. We don't really have another choice.
I mean, that is very clear that we don't have another choice. And I'd love it if the Penguins would follow a Montreal style rebuild. Maybe not that length, but they're back right in the thick of things now. They just beat the brakes off I mean, the Bruins are bad and completely out of
Oh
it. But
God, they're
they are.
so
I mean,
bad.
they're. Yeah, that's a conversation for a different time. But even like a Kings rebuild, the Kings. I mean, they could have moved Kopitar. They could have absolutely moved him when they were really down in the dumps. They trusted
Teams would have given a King's ransom for Drew Doughty.
Yeah, they could have. And again, Byfield didn't. Byfield was a top 3 pick, and he didn't hit it right away when he came into the league. But they just kept. They remained patient, and he is going to be probably a top 20 player next season. I mean, he's finally kind of put the pieces together, and it gets back to a thing that like people just outside of like your Crosbys, McDavids, Ovechkins, this professional sports is almost impossible. I mean, people don't realize how like 1% of 1% like these athletes are, and it's pretty much a miracle that anybody's actually that good at a specific thing.
I know
And
people don't understand.
yeah.
Fourth liners were at one point the best. They were the best players in their respective cities
Absolutely.
at one point. They were.
I mean,
they were unreal,
yeah.
and they're getting 6 minutes a night in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Craig Adams, like was just a fourth line guy for the Penguins. If he would have shown up at a Thursday night beer league, he would have been the best. He would have scored 20 goals.
Yeah, it would be unfair.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be close. There's a good comparison that I'm going to touch on real quick. It's using basketball, but it says there was a guy in the NBA. His name is Brian Scalabrine. He played for the Celtics and a couple other teams, but he played pickup hoops with these two guys at like some rec gym. It was like 2-on-1, and he just absolutely flattened him. And he basically said, "I'm closer in talent to LeBron James than you are close to talent as me."
Yeah, that's not even like a brag. That's just
no.
Like,
and this guy got like maybe 5-10 minutes a night on an NBA court for a couple years, and yeah, it's impossible. It's when they all play together, it seems like it's just a run of the mill. Like, oh, that they make it look easy, but it's not. And if they hit on guys like Koivunen and McGroarty, and again, Brunicky, if there was an injury somewhere, he's probably playing NHL games this year. It just the math didn't make sense. He looks like he's ready to make a push next season. Tanner Howell, I think he just had a hat trick in a playoff game. He plays up there in the WHL, I believe.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's dudes in this system now. Like they went from like 32nd to like 20th in the past 18 months in system rankings in the NHL.
That's quick work by Dubas.
Yeah, I mean, he had a plan and he's executing it. It again, not obviously the first offseason. There's probably a lot of stuff he wishes he could hit the undo button on. Ryan Graves and Tristan Jarry being the two.
It's the same risks you're taking trading for a McGroarty. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same card game. It's just certain ones hit and certain ones didn't.
Yeah, but he's tried.
I mean, did we think the wheels were going to fall off Jarry like this?
No,
there was no inkling. There was never an inkling that things were going to be like this.
Maybe it was like, okay, maybe he's not like a Vasilevsky or something like that. But to the fact that where they gave him a conditioning stint the first like month of the season and then just straight up waived him.
Yeah.
Like,
wasn't he waived? Yeah, he was waived. I was going to say, didn't he get waived twice?
No, he got the first time was that conditioning stint. The second time
that's right,
was straight up being waived. Like, to the point
basically
where
a for free sign on your back.
Well, outside of taking the contract, that basically, you had to give up nothing to get him. But yeah, it's crazy that they are in this position. But yeah, I mean, if you would have told me 18 months ago the Penguins, like the future would be now, I'd be like, dude, I think they have a long way to go. I
would too.
Yeah. But
you know who else thinks they have a long way is Brian Hayes on TSN. Do you know what that guy said? Did you hear what he said about the Penguins? He said that this is going to be the Matt Sundin situation that was in Toronto and Pittsburgh, where they were begging Matt Sundin to leave because they wanted to tank so bad. And they're basically, Brian Hayes said if he was the GM of Pittsburgh, he's going to Sidney Crosby and saying, if you're not going to waive your no movement clause and you're not going to leave on your own, we're taking you off the power play. And he said he would take Sidney Crosby off the power play. And he would just,
that's insane.
And then, dude, his co-hosts, who are also like, they don't really get what's going on in Pittsburgh either. I think it's because Dubas is here and they just like to pile on. And they also want Sid to be a Maple Leaf. Even those guys were like, that's a completely insane comment to say, even for you. And he was like, no, that's what, if I was a GM, that's what I would do because I need Sid to leave so we can start the real rebuild. And I'm like, dude, I think that you're talking out of your rear end.
Yeah.
That's an insane comment.
It is. Yeah.
That pigeon could not go up to Sidney Crosby in whatever role he thinks and say, you're off the power play. Who would say that? Maybe Evgeny Malkin if he wasn't getting ice time. But as a joke,
that doesn't even make like any logical sense.
Also, Sid is not Matt Sundin. Matt Sundin was a great player, but Sid is. It's like it's comparing apples to oranges. It's like not the same situation whatsoever.
Yeah, very like again. There's a weird thing with Sidney Crosby and the NHL or Canadian hockey media.
It's a weird fetish.
Yeah, it's bordering on like you never heard like the Capitals until this year were like on the same path. Like you never heard that about Ovechkin.
No, you never heard that once about Ovechkin, which you've brought that up before, and it's a great point. No one ever brings up get Ovi out of there.
Yeah, they don't even say it about Malkin. Like
no,
like it's a deeply weird. Yeah, it's like it's a fetish. Obsession. Yeah, it is. It's very weird. Like I understand he is the face of hockey in Canada, but can't you find another like?
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
Business taxes. We're stressing about all the time and all the money you spent on your taxes.
This is my bill?
Now Business Taxes is a TurboTax small business expert who does your taxes for you and offers year-round advice at no additional cost, so you can keep more money in your business. Now this is taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com/business. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service.
So good, so good, so good.
Just in and so good. Thousands of spring finds up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. And that means thousands of fresh reasons to rack.
How did I not know Rack has Adidas?
Vince, Calvin Klein, Rag & Bone?
Obsessed. Why do we rack? For the hottest deals.
Save on Madewell, Kate Spade New York, Sam Edelman, Joe's, and more. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Plaything in your brain that like distraction or something to like just shiny object. I understand that.
I mean, how many more Edmonton playoff losses until it's McDavid? Save McDavid, and he's in their own country playing.
Yeah. Well, that's maybe that's it. He gets off the hook because he's at least on a Canadian team. But dude, yeah, I mean it's deeply weird. Yeah, that
insane comment.
Yeah, being like, I'm going to tell Sidney Crosby that if he doesn't demand a trade out of Pittsburgh, we're just not going to play him.
You're going to punish him by taking him off the power play?
They just signed him. Like, this is dumb. That is, I mean, I'm glad that at least he's one of the first that I've seen actually get pushback. Like, most of the time it's just like nodding along like little robots.
Yeah, everyone's yes.
But yeah, at least there was some like, okay, even that's a little crazy for for us.
Well, yeah, one of his co-hosts that played in the NHL was just like, "You're out of your mind for even saying that you've gone too far." And he was like, "I'm doubling down. That's exactly what I do." And I was like, "I have to bring this up." Because I heard that, my jaw dropped. I was just like, "Are you nuts? Is this for clicks?"
It probably was. I don't know. Some of it might be serious. Until he signed that contract, it was pretty insufferable, and even after that, it was pretty insufferable. I mean, Bissonnette was like, it's just been just horrendous about it. He's not as bad now. He's been a little bit better. It got a little bad during Four Nations just because, like, oh, he's playing with McKinnon, McDavid, blah blah blah. But no, it's annoying. That though is absurd. The holding Sidney Crosby hostage to demand a trade that is absurd.
I know, it's just crazy. It's also like, as far as pros go, like Mario Lemieux did it. You know, he rode out the years on a bad team. He came back multiple times. Sidney Crosby lived at his house, ushering in this new, product for the NHL. And then Sid's basically paying it back. He's like, I'm going to do it for whoever's here. And is that so hard for people to wrap their head around? He saved the Toronto's never had to deal with their franchise being, basically having a for sale sign in front of the stadium. It's just nonsense. We can't give it too much more air because it'll actually drive me to like heart palpitations. But Jesus Murphy,
I think that's a part of what makes me want this to work so bad.
Just shove it right back in Toronto.
Yeah, even if they don't win another cup, like even if they don't, just getting back to and like having a chance. Gosh, dude, it'd be really brilliant if they got in at some point, like next year.
Beat Toronto.
Oh my gosh, I'd maybe consider putting up a banner for that.
I would consider maybe being that guy with the sign outside, just like with Brian Hayes' quote, just being like, take Sid off the power play to get him out.
I'd be truly insufferable as a fan, an anti-Toronto fan.
I'd go villain. I'd go pure villain mode.
Just full heel, just like
full heel.
Yeah. I
absolutely would.
I'd be completely insufferable as an anti-Toronto, just a Toronto hater, just like a full-on.
I know, and they wonder why. The Toronto media always wonders why. We're just passionate, and it's just like, no, I think you guys are like all. I think not winning for since 67 is. It's like just having blue balls for like over like 50 years. You're just like, I need to yell and scream about stuff. Yeah. That's what I think it is. So
yeah, it's so annoying. But I think like seeing like McGroarty and Koivunen come up and play the way they has to energize Crosby as well.
Dude, he's jacked. No one's happier than he is. He's like, wow, I can actually play with you. He's probably getting kind of horned up to play with them. He's like, actually, Rust and Raquel, it's like that meme where like that guy's with his girlfriend looking over his shoulder at like the other girl. Sid's probably like, we're the best 5-on-5 line in the entire NHL, but he's looking at Koivunen and Rutger like, there might be something cooking with those guys.
Yeah, he's like the he goes home every night and he's the Wolverine meme with the little picture, except it's just Billy Koivunen and Rocker McGroarty.
That's going to be him when they send them back to Wilkes-Barre to go on a playoff run.
When the season ends, he's just sitting lakeside with a picture, and a little.
He's on Lake Erie.
Yeah, a little TV like tuned into the Wilkes-Barre playoff games.
Yeah, he's going to be like me.
He's going to be like, can you send me down for the Wilkes-Barre playoffs?
He's going to be asking. Yeah, he's going to ask Dubas, can we negotiate a 2-way deal on the fly for this?
I need a conditioning stint.
Yeah, conditioning stint. God, do you know how insane that would be? They're just like announcing the lineups for the playoff game and Sidney Crosby trots out.
Oh, that would be unfair to put.
Has Sidney Crosby ever played an AHL game?
I don't think so. I don't think it was ever a conditioning stint or anything like that.
Yeah, because his first season, he never went down.
Nope. He was always.
Did he ever like play a game with Wilkes when he was coming back from those concussions?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, it would almost be like it would be such a novelty, like if someone had like, this is dating ourselves, Robbie, but like back when they used to get like the game program was when you'd walk into an arena.
Oh yeah.
Sidney Crosby playing in Wilkes-Barre for one game. That would be like such a rare program.
You would definitely be holding on to that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. But
it's like out here in Seattle. I remember I went to a single A Everett Aqua Sox game, and Jay Buhner was on a conditioning stint coming back from
my gosh,
ACL or something. Yeah, Jay Buhner was playing for the Everett Aqua Sox.
And Buhner was a huge name at that time. Like,
oh yeah,
that would have been that crowd probably would have been absolutely insane. Like,
yeah, I was there, and it was like, people were pretty much there to see Jay Buhner. It's cheaper to go see him in Everett than go down to Seattle and go to Safeco Field and see him. But, anyways, that's actually good trivia. Maybe over the summer we should do a trivia thing and just find like weird like niche things that have happened for Penguins players, like what year did so and so play like this many AHL games or something.
Yeah, we're gonna need content, so always
gotta get creative.
Yeah, get creative here. But so the Penguins lose 5-4 in overtime to the Blues. The Blues have now won 11 in a row. The Penguins this time only have one day off. They're off Friday, and then they have a weekend doubleheader Saturday in Big D against the Stars at 3:00 in the afternoon Eastern time, so noon out in Snail's neck of the woods. And then they go from Dallas to the Windy City in Chicago to take on the Blackhawks, which is actually the first game of a home-and-home set with the Blackhawks. The Penguins they come to Pittsburgh on Tuesday. But, Saturday, Sunday, back-to-back, Dallas, Chicago. Dallas really good, Chicago not.
Oh, God, Chicago is so bad. Like, they're so bad that, like, I mean, I think it's like Tyler Bertuzzi is like a shell of his former self.
Oh, he's basically been, they basically broke him.
They broke him. Yeah, you hate to see that happen to players.
Yeah.
Last time that the Penguins will play Patty Maroon, he's calling it a career after this season. So you'll wonder if there'll be some stick taps for him. Always wondered if he would ever come to Pittsburgh. I think there was a point in his career where maybe he was a guy that you'd like to see. But it'll be interesting to see. It's always cool to see Connor Bedard, I guess. He's not really having the year that I think people hoped, a true sophomore slump. Sid's going to go show him who his daddy is in the face-off circle again.
Yeah. We will get Bedard in 2 games. Like you said, Pat Maroon, his final run these last couple of weeks here as he heads off into retirement with, I believe, 3 Stanley Cups.
3.
2 with Tampa Bay and 1 with St. Louis, I believe.
Someone said it's a shame he's retiring. He should try to get 2 more so he could be Maroon 5.
Nice. He wasn't going to do it in Chicago, that's for sure.
Yeah, I thought he'd get traded at the deadline, but I guess
maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he's just like, I'm done. It's over.
Yeah, that could very well be it too.
Yeah, that could absolutely be a part of it. But yeah, that's what's left for the Penguins this week. Snail, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, I actually had 2.
Questions? Yeah.
I had 2 more things to bring up. One of them was Ovi's getting real close.
Yeah, he's at 3 goals left.
I'm hoping that it doesn't happen against Pittsburgh, although it would be almost like poetry if it did. Sid broke the goals per game record, or not goals per game, points per game record, and then Ovi breaking Wayne's record if he did it.
Only 2 goals in his next 6 games.
No, he's going to break it before that.
He's going to break it before that. I just don't see it getting. He'd have to. They have 6 games before they play the Penguins. He'd have to score only 2 goals, and that would be way under what he's already scoring. I just don't see that happening. I think he's going to break it. I think he's going to break it by the end of next week.
I mean, 3. He could do that in a night.
Oh, he could absolutely, absolutely. He's the kind of guy that could absolutely pop off for that. But yeah, it's not going to make it to Pittsburgh at this point.
The other thing was how for real are like the race out east? It's more for positioning. Everything, the table's set out east. I would say the Red Wings stink. There's no way they're getting in. The Rangers stink. They've squandered their year. I don't even want to hear from the Rangers or the Islanders.
Islanders are pretty much cooked at this point.
What an awful team that is. I cannot stand the Islanders. How for real are the St. Louis Blues right now? Like, do you think that this is people are like saying, is this 2019? They've got Jobu from the Major League movie in their locker room, the voodoo doll. Watching them tonight, I was like, man, they're a good team, but like, I guess they did have Hofer, and Bennington has been like one of the big it factors for them since coming out of that Four Nations. How for real are they to you?
I think the West is going to be a complete just gauntlet, just a complete murderer's row for 3 rounds to see whoever gets out of that.
Whoever comes out of there might be just half eaten.
St. Louis is basically going to get either Vegas or Winnipeg, and if I'm St. Louis, I'd rather take Vegas in that matchup.
Yeah, no Hellebuck to deal with.
Yeah, even though Vegas has been kind of quietly good all year.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of in the prime Penguins kind of position where nothing really matters until spring. Like,
yeah, good point.
They've kind of shifted into that mode. Like, they've won their cup. They didn't do anything huge this trade deadline. They're just kind of in that. Just get us to spring. That's really they're kind of. Not that they're boring to watch. They're just kind of like, we just got to get to when it matters, and we're going to be there in the end. They're going to be a dogfight to get out of. St. Louis, again, it's the theory of peaking at the right time.
Yeah,
maybe
LA style, right?
Yeah, maybe it's a little bit early, but I mean, they had to basically get this hot just to make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So again, maybe they're peaking at the right time. Bennington is still a wild card to me, a complete wild card. But again, I don't know how much I trust like Aiden Hill.
Dude, for real.
Again, a guy that's already carried a team to a cup. But Bennington versus Aiden Hill, I feel like is a matchup where literally anything could happen.
Oh yeah.
Again, but yeah. So
I
think
both be gas cans.
They could be both gas cans, or they could be like each team scores like 8 goals in the entire series.
Yeah, go full Marty Brodeur.
Yeah. I'm still just leaning on Dallas. I've kind of been on them all season. Colorado's not doing it for me.
Really? Not defensive enough?
It just feels like they made all these moves, and again, they're going to be tough, and it's going to be like an opening series with Dallas. But I just don't feel like. I just feel like if I'm picking between Winnipeg, Dallas, and Colorado, I'm picking the top 2 before I pick Colorado in that situation. Just the feeling I get. Minnesota is in the playoffs, but they've completely fallen off for me. Edmonton, I think the Kings beat them in 5 or 6 games in that first round series. I think LA is out for blood, and I think that LA is a team that I would feel confident putting them in the Western Conference Final.
Dude, yeah, everyone's saying, well, Edmonton just always beats the Kings. I don't think this year.
No, it's going to be at home. It's going to be home ice in Los Angeles. Are 28-4-4 at home this year, and
insane.
Edmonton, if you can find a way to cushion yourself against the top like 4 forwards in that lineup, they can be had. I don't think any problem. Stuart Skinner, I have no faith in.
He's had a bad year too.
Yeah, he just when things go bad for Stuart Skinner, they go bad quick. Like McDavid and Draisaitl are going to get their points, but the depth just isn't there. And I think LA, man, they're kind of reminding me of them LA teams that won the cup. Just
for sure,
just miserable to play against.
Yeah, the veterans are still holding their own and pulling their weight. I mean, Kopitar is still as good as. I mean, he was Barkov before Barkov.
Yeah.
And it's not like he slowed down this year. He's having a hell of a season. I trust their goaltending more than Edmonton. Yeah, dude, the Kings are a weapon this year, and I think it's just recency bias if you're penciling in Edmonton just because of last year and the year before. Like I think that Edmonton is a worse team. Like they've regressed quite a bit.
But what I will say is, in the West, I think again I kind of went over who I thought is good and who not. But I think you can make a solid case for 7 of the 8 teams making it to the final.
Yeah, I think the West is the more favorite.
And if we go to the East, I think there's maybe 4 teams that I could make a solid case for making it to the final.
Who would that be?
Florida, Tampa Bay, Washington, and Carolina. And I'm not even necessarily sold on Washington.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on them either, but they're just having that kind of year.
Yeah, it just, if things all of a sudden regress in the playoffs, a goalie just doesn't show up, the shooting drops. But right now, dude, Carolina just put them through a meat grinder last night, and it got really nasty. And if those two teams meet, Carolina, again, I'm not, until Carolina does it, I can't fully be on board, but they look like a team that it would give Washington all sorts of problems.
I know, it's weird. It's like they got that whole Rantanen deal was such a mess, but then he left, and it's like you've got Taylor Hall, who seems to be like just found new life, and Stankoven, and he just kind of fits in there.
I think Stankoven's game, not that it never would have taken off in Dallas, but the way he plays, it just fits like a glove in Rob Brendamore's system.
It does.
And he has he's going to get paid at some point, and I think he could have a long, fruitful career in Carolina just because he's just a menace in that system.
He is, unless the Penguins were to swing a trade for him.
Yeah, I mean, again, you don't know how long a guy's going to stay there, but the way he plays just fits that system perfectly. Complements guys like Aho and Shesnikov extremely well. So I love that for him, and I think he just makes him a huge weapon, and I just think they're going to be a team that's going to be there in the end. But yeah, 3 or 4 teams in the West or in the East. Toronto, no, dude, sorry. Until I see, and nah, I just don't.
Who's their goaltender?
Yeah, unless if you are a Toronto fan, like if you tell me as a Toronto fan you have belief, you're lying to me. Don't lie to me. That's me. You're lying. If you look at that team and you're like, I believe this team can do it. No, you're lying. Don't lie to me, man.
No, they're not. I mean, that same core has proven that they can't get it done. I just don't think they have enough, they don't have the dogs. And I hate using that term, but you think back to teams, we can all think of teams that won cups, right?
Look at every cup team. You've got to have, you need players to have that dog in them.
You need Talbots, you need Kennedys, you need God, I always forget. Who's that rat? Who's that rat that played for the Penguins who's ended
Matt Cook?
Yes. You need a Matt Cook. Who do they have on their team? They have a bunch of guys making the bulk of the money, and they're all the same temperament. And then you got Max Domi, and then you're kind of just you're hoping Max Pacioretty can just be held together with glue and tape until
if you go through some of the other teams just that are in the playoff position, Tampa Bay has dogs. They've been there, done that.
Gensel and Hagel, they'll put up 30.
Kucherov's going to score 2 points a game. He's gonna
He'll also snap and slash you.
Yeah. Florida is just loaded with dogs, up and down the roster. Washington, again, I don't think the Washington's as good as the record is, but again, dogs. Carolina
Wilson will score 30 and punch your nose.
Yeah. Carolina loaded with dogs. Jersey ain't it.
Oh God.
One team that has dogs that they're maybe just a little puppyish yet. Montreal.
Oh yeah, that team, dude, they're coming on strong
next year. That's why them making the playoffs this year is so vital to get them to kind of being that Penguins team that made the playoffs before they could make a run.
Yeah, when they got whipped by Ottawa.
Yeah, that's the they might go in and get hammered by Washington, but right now they just give me those early Penguin dynasty vibes.
Wouldn't it be awesome if Ottawa's still poised to make the
playoffs? They're pretty much in. They're pretty much in at this point.
It'd be so awesome if they made the playoffs and they played Toronto and they beat
Oh,
them?
dude, I honestly I probably wouldn't pick them, but I could see that series going 7 games.
You
If it
could
would
see
be
it
Toronto.
going. Toronto would have home ice and they'd still go 7 games. It'd be a nail biter.
It'd be Maple Leafs going to be miserable every game too.
It could happen with the Habs too, like that. I don't know. Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, weren't they a part of that cup run that they had in the bubble?
Caulfield may have been the next year, but Suzuki may have been there.
They're either way, those guys are still like young, like
Yeah.
hitting their prime, and they're like the core.
Yeah. Caulfield came in 2001. He came the next year. He's only 24.
Insane. They're really building something in Montreal.
He's in his fourth full season. He's already 24, and he's only 24. The dude. Yeah, he's just good hockey players. Dogs up there as well.
Toronto just doesn't have that.
Yeah, Toronto just doesn't have. They're weak. They're soft.
Yeah, they're soft.
They're soft.
Very soft, and it'll show in the playoffs.
Yep, it always does.
It always does. That's why they haven't won anything since 67.
All right.
Well, Robbie, that's all I really got. We'll obviously do a playoff preview type show.
Oh yeah, we'll do
down the road.
I think we'll get pretty heavy into the playoffs. I think,
For sure.
But we'll definitely do once the season's over and once the matchups are all set. We'll do some talking about the matchups and make some picks and have some fun with that.
Probably do a eulogy closeout episode to recap the Penguins season.
Yep, absolutely.
But that's all I really got, man. So there's this whole the Penguins aren't in it, but man, exciting stuff coming down the stretch here. These last 9 games of the season, 8 games of the season.
Penguins have 6 left.
I mean, they got 6 left, but I think the season
yeah.
goes until the 17th or something.
The Penguins play on the last day of the season.
Oh, they do.
They do. But they do have a few days. They have a little more spaced out of games.
Gotcha.
This last final week here. So the Penguins have 6. I can't count. 6 games left. Crazy that we're here, regardless of how we got here. Feels like just yesterday we were talking about training camps and all that fun stuff. But no, this weekend I'm assuming we'll do a double recap at some point of the Saturday and Sunday games. Hopefully a mailbag next week at some point.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't really have anything, Snail.
I don't either. Let's get out of here.
All right, everybody. Penguins lose 5-4 in overtime to the Blues. Weekend doubleheader with Dallas and Chicago on tap for Saturday and Sunday. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. Everybody have a good weekend. Stay safe. We'll talk to you next week.